Welcome to Picking Profitable Niches. In this course, we're going to walk you through the full process that we go through when we have an idea that gets us excited about starting a site, and then we need to sanity check it and make sure that it's a business that we actually want to be in.
That's exactly right. I do want to address one little thing, and that is, you said the word niche, and some people say the word niche. And we have been called out many times on YouTube and Project 24.
Like, you're idiots. It can't be like, hey, respectfully, I disagree. It's like,
yeah, it's like, no, you're
a
stupid.
Fool and your mother is a fool.
People are so mean. The fact of the matter is that both pronunciations, according to multiple dictionaries, both pronunciations are accurate. So we'll probably use them interchangeably. Sometimes I do like to appeal to the traditional crowd that calls it niche, and other times I like to be a redneck and call it niche. All right.
So let's talk about getting started on your business.
Yes.
If when I started my first blog a decade ago, I would have understood that was going to be my full-time job for years to come, and I would still be working on it a decade later, I would have given it a lot more thought. But I probably would have ended up doing the same thing. And so a lot of you have come into this course with a direction that you want to go. You already know what you want to do. And so this course is going to help sanity check it and to shape the idea you already have. What we don't want you to do is you have an idea that you're in love with, and then you watch through this course and you learn all of the finer details of analyzing a niche, and you talk yourself out of it, and you go to a niche that's very convenient and monetizable, etc., and you hate it and you never want to work on it and you quit.
That's right. We're going to walk through multiple elements of what makes for a good niche, and every single idea is going to fail at least a little bit at least one of the elements, and that's okay. The idea here, though, is to try to shape the niche as much as possible to make it as likely a success as possible.
Now, the other side of the coin there is some of you may be coming to this course with an idea that really would truly be problematic for some specific reason. We're going to talk about some of those. And so be willing to shape the idea you have, and don't fall in love and say, I am doing this and I'm not going to change it, because there probably is a way that we can alter it to make it work. So, welcome to the course. Let's get started with the substantive stuff. We have created a tool for you called the Site Topic Selection Sheet, and you'll find it linked below this lesson. What it is really just a ton of different ideas that you could take. By no means an exhaustive list, but just so many of them just to get the wheels turning on what kind of sites you could choose to do. Now, the reason we do that is people who have watched us on YouTube, on everywhere on the internet, see like, man, these guys make outdoors websites and hobby sites.
Yep.
And that's because that's what we love to do. We've done it since we were in high school together. We were making that, we were interested in that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people that take our course end up making outdoors websites and hobby websites. And there's so many other things to do. It's just what we particularly like. And so we want to kind of open up your mind to the different kind of possibilities that could work for you.
Exactly. As you go through the list, I would like you to highlight the ideas that seem like they could work for you. If you hit one and you think, oh, that's not the one for me, but it makes you think of something else that maybe isn't on the list, great, make a note of that and highlight it. And I want you to ask yourself a few questions as you go through this list. If you're struggling with, I don't know, maybe the confidence that I could do this one, I want you to answer these questions for yourself. Number one, what are you good at? Now, when we say what are you good at, we're not meaning like, what are you an expert at? We're meaning like, what's something that you do that you have above average?
Yeah, like what are you even okay-ish at?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, what do you do for your job? You're probably better at that than I am, unless you do what I do.
And then we got a little competition going between.
We'll have to verify who's the best. No, but really, like, what are you pretty good at? The next question: what do people come to you for advice about? This could be as simple as like, I own a dirt bike, and if my dad or my friend bought a dirt bike, they would come ask me about it.
Yeah, or, hey, Jim's been to Norway. Before I go on a trip there, I might ask him about it. Now, I'm no expert in Norway. I spent a whopping 5 days there one time, but somebody would come and ask me if they knew I'd been there.
Exactly. You know more about what it's like to go to Norway than most Americans, because most of us have never been there.
Right, or, maybe you're not into sailing. It's not your thing, and maybe you don't even have a boat, but if you used to own a boat or something, that maybe your brother or friend who knew that would go ask you. So be really broad about what would somebody ask your advice about.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be the only thing somebody would ask my advice about is whatever relationships. Whatever. Don't think about that. Not that kind of advice.
Yes.
Just what would somebody who knows you well go ask you about before they did the same thing?
Yep. Another question you could ask yourself is, what's something that you have researched to death? Many times
this is a great question.
Yeah, this
really
can often be
question.
like a product. Like what is like a major purchase that you recently made that you spent time researching? Man, if you've spent time researching this, you know more about it than the average person. And you've probably identified a lot of gaps in the information available on the internet.
Yes.
That's happened to us so many times. We have not been able to create all the websites that we could just by filling in the gaps that we've found on the internet.
Yeah, so some ideas here are go look through your Amazon search history. Yeah. Go through your Google search history and just browse from a year ago, whatever. Just quickly flip through it, look at all the things that you've Googled over time, and I bet there will be a lot more things that you've researched to death than maybe you think. Those are probably my two favorite questions for kind of finding a place to go.
If none of those works, right? You've been through all those and you're like, I don't have a lot of interest. I'm not good at anything. That's okay. I mean, that's a valid thing. People have said that to us many times. Here's the next question. If money were no object, it doesn't matter at all. What's something you would love to do? What's something you would love to learn about? What's something you'd be willing to become an expert in if money was not a problem?
And this really turns on a different part of your mind and makes you look at a different part of you, and can still bring you to some really valid ideas. So maybe you're a Methodist or a Catholic and you say, man, a lot of people get the wrong idea about my religion when they search online. I would love to write about that. I'm definitely passionate about this. Now, it's not a major purchase. I don't know if I would consider myself an expert, whatever. But hey, yeah, I am interested in that. And if money were no object, I would love to have an online ministry or whatever. Of course, it doesn't have to be religion. Maybe it's dating advice or whatever. Something that you're just passionate about. So consider all these questions and be a little forgiving of yourself. Some of you feel confident in yourself and you're like, no, I can be an expert in this thing. And others of you, this is going to be a troubling, difficult process to do.
Exactly.
Do it anyway. Highlight everything that could possibly work for you. Type in some of your own. At the end of this lesson, just go I want you to have a list of maybe 15, 20 ideas that could possibly work. And then we're going to vet them in the lessons below.